Giờ cũng xong rồi. Ok.
No fish, no fish.
How hard I'm pushing down on the material. If we have very little blade out, we have to put a bit more force down to push everything through. If we have a lot of blade out, we don't need a lot of force because we already have a lot of blade. In this case, this force looks pretty high. This is what the force is currently set at. If I arrow up and down, we can see that it's changing by increments of 5. I'm going to bring it down to 70. I'll push enter.
Okay, 6, 3, 3. Okay, good.
And now we can see that my force is set to 70. My speed, how fast it's going to cut. We can go ahead and raise this a little bit to 10 centimeters per second. And we can see that that's what it's going to set it to. So I can go through. I can change things back and forth. And when I push enter, it'll save all of the changes. So I'm going to go through. I'll make my adjustments. 70 for my force. I want to speed it up from 6 to 10 centimeters. And my blade offset. This is, okay. Your 45-degree blade requires a 0.25 millimeter offset. If you ever forget what to set your offset to, it says it on the label right here. Point offset quarter of a millimeter.
Oh, okay.
Up speed, just leave it the same. This is going to be how fast it moves when it's not cutting, when the cutter is up at up speed. So my blade offset is set correctly, my speed is set correctly. I'm liking the force on there, so I'll go ahead and I'll push enter and it'll save. Now, to check it, I'm going to do a test cut. So the test cut is a circle with a square in it. Right here we can see. First thing, I want to remove the circle. I should be able to remove the circle, leaving the square there. So I know if I'm cutting through the material properly or not. Next, I want to remove the square. I want to look at the cut lines of where it cut the square to see if I'm cutting too much into my backing paper. I can also feel underneath where I cut to see if there's any impressions or if I can feel that the back of the material is being cut as well. at the moment this is looking really good. I am gonna go to my cut configuration. I am gonna increase my force to 80. And then I'm gonna do another test cut. And again. Circle is good. Leaving the square. Not cutting too much into my backing paper. I'm not feeling any impressions on the back, so this is looking like a pretty good blade depth and force and speed. And as far as just setting up the machine, that's going to be it. I would take the blade holder and you can just scratch the surface of the vinyl and see if it cuts. That's a good way to find out if you have enough blade before you put it back on the machine. Or you can just get the vinyl and kind of hold it up, and you can see on the edge where the backing paper and the vinyl meet, and holding the blade up to it, you can see if there's going to be a proper amount. Because again, we're just cutting the vinyl. Vinyl is very thin. We only need like a little bit of blade poking out to be able to cut, because we're going to have the force to add on. So if you're just cutting vinyl, your force values when your blade depth is set correctly, you're bouncing between 70 grams of force and maybe 90 grams of force. In between there, you should be good. When you start cutting vinyl with lamination film on it, then you get into the hundreds, 120 grams of force. You're exposing more blade out, so you'll kind of get the hang of it. That's going to represent all your nozzles. Mm-hmm. Just like on your Epson, same idea, but just the Roland version of it. To get to that, we'll push the cleaning button. Gonna arrow up or down. Wait, nope. Oh, I'm sorry, this machine. Just push the test print button. Push and hold, and it'll perform a test print.
Is that the one where it shows all the stripes?
Exactly. It's gonna be just like the one on the Epson, except.
Oh,
Okay. Okay. So. Canvas isn't necessarily the best material to read this off of. If you have like a white gloss vinyl, that's always the best. But we can see enough here to get the point across. Yellow, we're missing a lot of. Cyan in here. There could be some missing nozzles. There's missing nozzles where you're not even going to see any of the dashes. You can kind of see like in here, the dash is going to be missing. If we were to print this on like a gloss material, we'd probably see better, Sometimes there's misdirected lines where there's like a piece of ink in the nozzle. It's still firing, but the line is off to the side, like putting your finger on a hose. So I'm seeing a good amount of misdirected nozzles in the cyan and a couple missing. This magenta obviously is firing. Yellow, we're missing some yellow. It's identical, and that's kind of a concern. Black looks like we're missing maybe one or two and some misdirects. These colors are looking pretty solid. Same with these as well, but again, the yellow kind of dropping out, that could be a bit of a concern.
Can we fix it?
So what we can do is we're going to go to the cleaning. Well, really what we want to do first is we want to clean our caps. We want to make sure we have a good seal on the print head before we do these cleanings. If we don't have a good seal, more air is getting into the print head, drying out more nozzles, and we can actually make it worse. So what have you been cleaning the caps with?
They gave us some stuff, but we don't know how to clean it.
What did they give you?
Bạn nó có cho ba mấy cái đầu clean không?
Yeah. So is I open this and I move the head over there and I clean around the head.
Ba đưa ông coi mấy đầu không?
Uh-huh.
Yes. And
Do you clean the rubber squares? these rubber squares? Do you clean those at all?
Yeah.
You do? Okay.
Rubber squares.